Well, good morning everybody. My name is Dr. J.D. Swinson. I'm the author of Karate Science and welcome to 15 Minutes of Thought. Today what I want to do is I want to do the second of 5 of Kanazawa Sensei's Kihon Ippon Kumite's for Jodan. So last time we did the first, right? Today we're going to move on to the second and then we're going to relate those to Jiyu Ippon Kumite or eventually Jiyu Kumite and how they provide strategies and how we can kind of loosen them up. Let's get started. Hey, us. Very good. So today's one, the first one that we did, if you cast your mind back, was simply agyuke, so just rising block, thinking everything nice and centered. 1, 2, then the punch. Right? So just straight, easy, agyuke, then the gyatsuki. So nice and simple, just easy. So you might want to practice that a little bit to get warmed up. Check out the previous video on that, and then we'll move on from there. Excellent. So let's get started with the second one. So from here, what's going to happen is our attack is going to come in across this line here. So they're going to step in with their right hand, punching in, splat. The idea for this one is simply stepping across. I'm going to show you a couple of variations of this. Is that you're going to step simply across, backward and back on a 30-degree angle into kokutsudachi. So the footwork is simply going to be from here and back, like so. So feel yourself simply step back, dropping your hips and center into stance, just like so. So from here, ready? Let's try. Itch. Good, and back. You might want to try the other side. Knee and back, and continue through that. So just try just that nice smooth transition. A couple of things that are important is number one, I'm not just dropping, right, like so. Notice I'm shifting. If you imagine these like two rails on a railroad track, what I'm doing is I'm completely shifting off the track. This is important. You don't want to stand here and leave your leg in the way of the train. And this is pretty consistent, right? That would be kind of a silly thing to do because they're coming charging straight in. Clear the track. When I tell my guys, my students, when I think about this, is it's about shifting completely out of the way. It's about clearing, and the actual block is based in the taisabaki part of the movement, the getting out of the way, the stepping back, not necessarily with what my arms are doing. The second part is you're going to step back and you're going to make tate shuto, just like so. So it's going to come across almost like you're loading like shituke, push open and out, exposing the blade edge of your hand, having the pressure into this part, not the flat of the hand, but feel it slightly curved inwards, like so. So allow that pressure here. Allow that pressure into the arm, straighten it right out, other hand coming up almost by your eyes, almost like you're saluting. So feel here, this load and compress, like so. Let's try that again. Itch and back. One more and back. One more and back. Good, so you want that feeling there, that nice expand. The next piece, let's go back to just you. So go away, practice that for a couple of minutes, come back, right? So at any point, press pause, practice those motions. The next part is from here, as you make the step back on the angle, make the kokutsu, and as you make the kokutsu, make sure that you're bed down on this hip. Don't sort of have it up and loose. Feel it push down and compressed. From here, all you're going to do is you're going to simply push off your rear leg, drive this forward, spin off this axis, and drive your hip into your target. This way. So it's going to be here, push, in. So you're going to make the tate shito, then feel the transition of your body center forward into your target. So give that a few goes. Try the step back, then push. Step back, then push. So one more time. Try it here, load, then just release the hands, push, in. Give that a go for a couple of goes, and then come back to me. Excellent. So the next piece is now throwing the hands. You're going to go from tate shito to shito-uchi. So allow the hand not to come through linearly, allow it to make and curve with your technique as it comes round. So it's going to be here, it's going to be this nice push, pull, back. Now, as you make that transition, this hip is turning on an axis like this. Make use of that axis. Make use of that coming around. If I'm facing sort of you, centered, feel it come round and in. Round and in. Allow the natural shape. Don't try and force it short. Allow it round. Allow it round and into the target to hit right onto the carotid. So the feeling is here, step back, then drive off the back leg, round and in, like so. One more time. 1, compress, push, in. Very good. So the things that you're working on here is this idea of kokuts to zenkuts transition, but most importantly, this transfer of your body center weight, shifting it out and then pushing it back into your target, pushing it in and under. And again, your hands are simply mirroring the action of your center of your hip. Simply here, pushing out straight, and then this one coming round and in, right? So you want that feeling. Good, so we've got that idea of this motion of just connecting and pushing. So the next piece is, how do you then relate that to Jiyu Kumite? Well, the feeling could be here, and this time what this is getting at is it's getting at the idea of scooting in and out of the person's way. So our first one was this idea of retreating or coming in. The second one is this idea of being able to push out and then expand back in. That nice, simple action of motion. So it's here using 1, 2. Just that simple action of step, using and taking that weight, and then driving in and skewering. So a very, very simple application as you're thinking about this is just this idea of here, then here. The second question is that, well, what about this hand? Well, this front hand in the basic says here and push. Does this actually need to make contact with the hand or the arm as you block back? The answer is no. Because at the end of the day, the actual block is contained, in my mind, in the body action. This is simply insurance. So when we think about this in Jiyu Kumite, you may or may not use this hand, and again, notice I'm not pulling back, there's no expansion, I just simply from here, just push it out, right? I cut the movement down and make it simpler. So as you make that step, simply feel this push here as you make that drive. Rear hand doesn't even have to move, it's already set to be able to punch, right? So from here, as you, depending on what your level is, you can simply just push and push, right? Or you can simply leave this hand where it is, push and push, right? Either or, there's no reason for the hikite, right? The hikite is a body timing tool to understand the connection that you need to make through your body as you make each action. The second thing is that this hand doesn't even need to block their hand. You could use this directly straight into their face and then hit. Boom, just fire it straight in, boom, hit them across the face, the carotid, wherever. Because again, the action, if they're coming in, whether it's gyakuzuki, kazamazuki, whatever, the action doesn't need to happen across their arm. The block is in the foot movement. And you may alter the angle here, here, here to wherever you need in Jiyu Kumite. The point of this hand may be to block a hand, but it may also be just jam that in their face and hit underneath, right? Any of those kinds of variations can exist. The other thing that's important is as you make the transition, when you're in Kihon Ippon Kumite, it's very sort of stuck to the floor with your feet. When you're in Jiyu, allow the principle, expand out, but allow the feet to naturally shift on the floor as you need. Very good. So you can practice that nice flowy sort of action. The last piece in this is actually the basic action. And this has been from discussions with a good buddy of mine, Dr. Matt Payne, we were discussing the action of this, of making tate shito over the top. And mechanically speaking, according to Dr. Payne, a lot of this kind of action is not that biomechanically sound. It's good if you're coming across your body as in shituke, but making shito uchi, it's not so good. If you notice almost in all kata, the movement comes underneath, right? And so as you make these actions, as you make this action, it may be, rather than making it this load as you practice in your own training, to simply come up and push, simply come up and push. And this is what we would do naturally in technique, as our elbow just simply expands off our body. So instead of making this big sort of glorified piece, which is basic technique, you might want to try just pushing. Just feel almost like a fountain, this feeling to make the push, then drive in. But that's up to you. That's something extra to play with. And again, what I encourage you, hit a punching bag, right? Just try it stepping in. Try that kind of a push, and again, hitting it onto the bag versus just and pushing in straight from the elbow. You can try that in your own time, of course, but the seed's planted. With that, let's finish there. I hope you all have an awesome day. Take care, keep safe, and I'll see you soon. Hey. Us.